it's Wellsday again. And so this is Miho and Przemek. Przemek is in Thailand. I'm currently in Brisbane in Australia. And Wellsday is all about getting you information, our thoughts, opinions, and from wellbeing and HR world. And today we're going to talk about January highlights. So what happened in the wellbeing and HR world that we've researched or we've read about that was a highlight for us, and this is just our opinion. I try to find a lot of different articles, and there's a lot of materials and what happened in January. So we try to keep it nice, light, and I have my coffee here with me, so that way.
I
Przemek,
have
you've got
to.
something.
Yeah.
You've got your coffee. So let's just have a chat. This will be like 30 minutes. So recording video and just a chat about what we've noticed last month or over the last 30 days, and our key highlights, which we probably add links to YouTube, so you can, if you want, you
Follow
can
up.
have a look and then follow up and read more about it. Right, so let's start. And Przemek, what's your highlight or key things that you've noticed this month that caught your attention and you want to share with everyone?
Okay, I will start with the Kristalina Georgieva, who is the head of International Monetary Fund, so IMF, and what she said just before going to Davos, to the global yearly meeting. She stated that 40% of jobs worldwide will be affected by AI. So this is like a huge news. And digging into it, it's the 40% is average. So 40% of jobs will be affected by AI, but it won't be everywhere the same. The impact won't be everywhere the same. In the most developed economies, and the impact may be even higher, reaching out 60%, while in an well, it's a lot, yeah. It's like 2 out of 3 people almost will lose their jobs. So,
Mm.
yeah, be
This can be
prepared.
scary for
This can be
when you think
scary,
about
but yeah,
that.
but we have. I mean, we can come out with a solution or some ideas how to prepare for it. Yes,
Yep.
60% for the most developed economies, 40% for emerging markets, and as low as 26% for low-income countries. So that would be mostly Southeast
Mm.
Asia, Asia, and underdeveloped countries in Africa, and so on. So looking into it, I think it's a big news that will affect us in this year and next and time beyond. But
Mm.
yeah, we can scare yourself about ourselves about losing our job, right? But there are certainly ways to avoid it or to be more prepared for it, not just pretend that the problem or the trend doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
that it's important to develop by yourself some certain skills that cannot be replaced by AI. So,
Yep.
for example, if you do something that is very systematic or that is organized by any kind of structure that can be repeatedly uh, done by some external applications or software, um, it's a good idea to think about something that can be uncommonly done, or even
Mm.
very basic skills like for example, finding a hobby in some uh, additional skills that require your manual work,
Yeah,
just in
I was
case.
just thinking of the DIY,
Yeah.
and like builders and plumbers and all the, say, jobs that require manual labor that
Mm.
can't be replaced by AI yet, I'd say,
I
because
mean,
we don't know
yeah,
what's going to be in the future. But that's
yeah,
something that, and it's not that we're going to see thousands of people becoming plumbers and
yeah,
builders, of course. But I think the key is the how you can prepare and just be aware of it, that it's coming. What does it mean for you? And reskilling, upskilling, I think it will be the key and a good for a lot of people to start thinking about that. What does it mean, and what skills they have already, and what they need, for example, for the future.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, it's not about becoming a plumber or baker
Builder.
or some
Yeah.
or somebody else doing manual job right now. But I think it's a great opportunity also for the companies to prepare for this fact coming up. For example, gaining a positive image from preparing your workplace for such situation, and for example enforcing the trust in your company by saying to your employees that hey, we know this change is coming, we've prepared some plans to meet it, and for example your job is secured, or we will move part of our workforce to do other stuff just to make people useful, um, to feel useful, and
Mhm.
to maintain the capability of production of our, for example, factory or of our office, um, that is still using the human workforce to perform.
Mm. It's it's funny how it's all comes back to communication, really. It's like no
Yeah.
matter the change, no matter what happens, it's all about communication. Companies need to take care of the good communication.
Mm.
Even if it's like a bad news or difficult or challenging situation, it's all about how we communicate. Because everything that you don't communicate, people will start, making assumptions. They don't
Yeah.
say about this, they don't say about that, which means
They hide
all the
something.
negatives.
They hide something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they must be hiding something. So it's
Yeah.
better to jump ships and just look for another job, which might not be true because they just didn't communicate it well. So I think
Mm.
that's the valid point at like in HR, and managers needs to be honest and communicate what they know, and as well as what they don't know. But having a plan for communication and how we're going to engage with employees, I think it's quite good outcome or idea from what you just said, and how we can deal with potentially AI taking jobs.
Mm. Yeah, so this was a huge news in January regarding our workplaces. I think this is the thing that will come sooner or later. So just be prepared for it. For some more information. Uh, Make a plan for yourself. Collect data, collect information. Uh, not to be surprised. Just to sail into this process with confidence and strength within yourself. Um,
Hmm.
the second
Yeah.
highlight I would like to show is that there's a campaign, currently campaign ongoing in Poland, so my home country, which is
Hmm.
40 million of people inhabited with. So it's not a small country, one of the
That's
biggest
one
in
of the
Europe.
things. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna interrupt you just short. When I mentioned that I'm from Poland and in Australia, New Zealand, and talking to people saying, yeah, we know the country, and it's like a small country in Europe. I say it's 40 million people, and people are very surprised quite often. They have no idea that Poland is a big country, and
yes,
40
I
million
emphasize
makes a difference.
I emphasize on that because that 40 million people is not a small number. It is one of the biggest country in the meaning of population in Europe. So trends from Poland also are maybe impactful in regard
Yep.
with trends that can happen all around, especially in Europe, and can be, for example, passed over to other continents. So there's an ongoing campaign in Poland right now that focuses on employees called Silvers. This is the so-called group in Poland who are 50 years old and over. And this campaign focuses on the problems that 50 years old people, employees, have got with finding a new job. Uh, and basing on the research, they say is that 50 years old plus look for the job 6 months more than younger generation employees. So it's
Mm.
quite a lot, half a year. And I think it's good information to share with others. Because it can be a huge problem, taking into consideration that right now in Europe we've got a society that is becoming elder and elder, so the aging society. The number of younger employees is cannot cover, for example, the lack of employees that going for the retirement. So this campaign can make a real impactful change, in my opinion. Uh, First of all, this portal that specializes in posting and managing job offers can have a competitive advantage by um acquiring new users from the segment of employees that was not very well cared about.
Yep.
So they can acquire new users and become as a so-called hub for most skilled, most experienced silvers. So those
Mm.
employees who are 50 plus in Poland. And the second thing is that while doing this, they will get a huge word of mouth. Right now, it's happening already because major news services in Poland cover this story, cover this campaign to
Mm.
say, hey, look, there's a new trend on focusing on people that are 50 plus. Let's do something about it because there are most skilled people that can be beneficial to your organization. So this is a
Mm.
huge highlight from our local
Yeah.
market. I think it's very important.
Oh, that's awesome, and I think it's really important, as you said, in the aging population right now, not, let's say, targeting uh, more experienced employees. It's a mistake because quite often people want to work. Um, how many times I've seen in Australia and New Zealand, especially as well, is that people on being on going on retirement, they're actually doing some job here and there because they want to. They don't have to, they want to. In Poland, I know from, say, my friends and their parents examples is that they go in the retirement and they need to work because they don't have money. Like the
Hmm.
retirement or the pension doesn't cover the cost of living. But having said that, do you think like this is more economically beneficial? How do you see this? Is this a win-win for, let's say, silvers because it comes from what's the name of the company? Can we say it or
Yeah, of course. I think yeah, because it's why not? It's
it's a
the
yeah.
company is called OLX Praca, so OLX Jobs.
Yeah. Okay. So OLX is doing something like that, which is amazing project. Do they do it from the good of their hearts and thinking there are skilled employees that we want to target, we want to do it's good for their well-being and getting back to the workforce, or is just economically, beneficial for the organization, or both?
Um, I don't know. I don't work at OLX, so
I
I don't
know.
know. But for example, from my point of view, if I were 50, I would be happy to be taken into consideration as an valuable employee on the market. And I would be really happy to hear that there's somebody or something that can help me to be useful again, to come back
Mm,
to the job market. So,
yeah.
nevertheless, the reason is I think the outcome of this campaign is really important for the employees. Of course,
Mm,
in it's my personal opinion that all business is money driven. So, of course,
of course.
it can be PR campaign, it can be a business driven campaign. I think it's a mixture of both uh, from my point of view, from my experience, if I had to say. But it doesn't matter. If you can help somebody,
Yeah.
it's good
I
because you are
think
making
I think the
a good
outcome.
change. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the outcome is here the what we should be focusing on. And if we can say give people jobs and get them back in the workforce, let's say
yeah,
silvers, I like that, back into the workforce, then this is a good thing. And I think it's going to happen more and more. We will see this. I say one's making link to our I say trends for this year and longevity, right? And just thinking of workforce and people working more and working through their lives,
Mm.
but also just thinking of and people want to, as he used the word useful quite often, and this is the biggest thing that after like once you hit certain mark 50, 60, whatever, some people feel that they becoming obsolete, they are not useful, so giving them purpose again, I think be very very fulfilling.
And this also connects with the previous highlight I mentioned, because when a large amount of people lose their job and they suddenly find themselves in a place without any purpose. I mean, for majority of people, when you ask them, what is your purpose? And usually people say, I want to be the best in what I'm doing. I want to be the best expert in this. I want to be the best in that. Many people find their life purpose in work. So if you take the work away from people, what's left?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what's left, especially to your mental health. So yeah, I think that all cases that bring people bring the feeling of being useful back to people, it's good.
Mm,
Nevertheless, the occasion and the initial cause or the initial project income that is behind it.
mm, right. Mm.
Yeah, and
That's I think it's a good highlight. I like that because I haven't heard about it here in and say southern hemisphere
so
down
okay.
under.
You don't have any programs. You don't have any programs for elder workforce? Not yet.
Well, it's I haven't heard like specific campaign to be fair about like um reintegrating or targeting more experienced employees. I see this more from diversity perspective.
Mm,
So right now, when we think of diversity, here Australia, New Zealand, we're thinking of not only genders, like
hmm
there's a lot of happening in gender pay gap, and thinking from diversity, we need to have people from different coming from different cultures, ethnicities, etc. But it's also, for me personally, diversity means everything, which means different experiences, different. You need to have people with different life experiences as well. Having more mature workforce, and you can see this in, say, job campaigns, that it's not only join young, positive, energized team. No, it's no longer there. And on the job ad, you can see mixture of people with different ages, different ethnicities, etc. So I think one, well, I probably can't share anything yet from my employer in terms of the campaigns and what we're gonna do, but there is a certain element that we want to make sure that we cover. Also, different from diversity point of view, that's just one, but we know that people can give so much more, and there is so much experience and passion in hospitality, especially. um, just because you're 50 doesn't mean that you're useless.
of
It's the
course.
opposite for us. It's thinking you've got so much experience and you can teach, new guys and new people come into our company, um, your skills, your knowledge, and just share it. So that's why you got all the mentorings program and coaching, mentoring, all this kind of things that happening throughout, say, in different organizations. I think it's happening already. I wouldn't say that it's probably something new for this market, but
Mm.
to be fair, I'd like to do some more research and potentially come back and just share some what I've learned and what I've researched over the next few
Okay,
weeks.
okay. So let's do it in the near future. And the third
Mm.
highlight I've got is the mass protests of farmers in Europe. I don't know if you're familiar in New Zealand and Australia or somewhere else
Yeah,
about this
just saw
topic.
it on the news yesterday.
Okay, so it's quite new for you, but it's ongoing process from that started last year in Europe, in Netherlands, and right now the farmers' protests are happening in Poland, are happening in Germany, are happening in France, are happening in Spain, and in France. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Spain, and all those protests are related to the new ecological, or ecologic oriented law that is trying to be forced in within EU, that focuses
Mhm.
on nitrogen, using a certain amount of nitrogen, so as a fertilizer for the by the farmers, or using the water supplies, using the diesel fuel for running the farmers' equipment, and also some tariffs regarding the tariffs and import tariffs of foreign food outside from the EU. So all those protests, why are we talking about this? Because you can say, oh, they are farmers. It doesn't affect me in any way. They're just farmers that are, let's say, pissed off because something is changing in their work environment. That's not very so, because all those protests, for example, block a certain processes within Europe, like transportation
Mm.
services, like commuting services. You cannot have, for example, your parcel on time. So what does it mean? It costs losses for the company because your parcel is late. This causes also the transportation problems as well. So, for example, if you are delivering dairy products and you've got a limited space, limited time for to make the delivery.
Yeah.
Your cargo can your cargo can expire. I mean, the consumption that can be
Yep.
expired. Yeah, can expire. So
Which means losses for the company as well,
losses for the
of
company,
course.
and also it affects the process, for example, of assessing the working time of the people. Because if somebody spends 12 or 20 hours in a traffic jam, is this person work time or not? Is this person late or not? Were the duties managed uh, in okay way? So, I mean the job duties. So
Mhm.
this causes a whole mess with regarding the processes in Europe. Also,
Mm.
it affects the mental well-being in regard to the stability and feeling of being secure. Because if you've got like thousands, I mean, 10 of thousands of farmers on the streets across all countries, major countries in Europe, because France and Germany are the top two biggest economies within EU. Uh, can you say that you feel safe? Uh, what about the food deliveries or production shortages? This also affects your everyday well-being.
Just daily
Uh,
life, right?
yeah, or daily life,
Potentially.
yeah, or the moment that you go to the grocery store, for example, and you see that something is missing because it was not delivered. So
Mm.
this is the moment you start thinking, what has happened? It's for this always was on the shelf and today is not. It was
Mm.
like a certain, yeah, that it will be there in the shop.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the
It's like we
process, and
don't really
yeah,
see the connection, right? The people protesting, farmers protesting against certain laws, as you said, that been introduced into the European Union, but we don't see. Oh, well, maybe I don't see, but usually I would say it's they're protesting, but I can't see the link or connection and the effect or consequences. What does it mean for me as a person, but
hmm
also as an employer? And especially, as you said, with logistics and transportation, that would be a huge thing for those companies, and potential issue for employers and employees as well.
that's right. So, what are
Mm.
your highlights from your
Yeah.
area, from your ERV zone?
Oh, but for me, the January is the quite interesting month because for us, I think until mid-January, there's not much happening. to be fair. There's a lot of people are still on annual leaves and just slowly coming back. And, this is the time when people usually laugh. It's like, what's my password? People forget a lot of things, what they've been doing. So first week that they come back is getting into back
Okay.
into the work. But January is also the month that we got this human resources director, this magazine, an online magazine, publishes the I would say the hot list of
Mm-hmm.
HR executives,
Mm-hmm.
which is I think it's quite good way to start the year, saying those are the people you should observe, like follow and see what they can achieve and what they're working on. So there's a list of I think it was 30. Looking from New Zealand market right now, HR executives. And there are three highlighted or featured. What is great is that they share their projects. They share the information a little bit more about what they've done, why they are featured. And it's not, I always say, it's not that we've done some fantastic things and people are happy. There's more. There's data, there's some case studies. You can follow up on that. So this is great as an inspiration and getting into the year of, you read about what people have done, what they're working on, and maybe get some inspiration saying, hey, this is interesting, like your 50 of silvers, right? That will prompt me to do a little bit of research, like what we do in the countries like Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific islands as well in that area. So I think that's my number one, just going through those, say, list of people. I can see some familiar names there. I need to mention my manager, who's on the top list as well. So well done,
Congratulations.
Philippa. That's really awesome. Uh, but also from a perspective, just looking at those people's profiles on LinkedIn, see what they post, what they're working on, as I get an inspiration. So that's my highlight. Number one. Number two is the report when we were doing trends and thinking of what's going to happen this year in well-being and HR. There was this research done by Wonder Health. I think about 500 people were interviewed and surveyed, and 30% of them said that what gives them happiness at work is the human connections. So that's
Can you
quite
repeat the
interesting.
last sentence because there was a discrepancy in the
Yeah,
network
sure,
connection, please?
sure. I'm not sure what was my last sentence.
The
I
name
mean,
of the name of the research.
Wonder Health. I
Okay,
think
and
it's
then.
WONDR Health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they've done research on 500 people around the world, from my understanding. And what comes from the survey is that people see human connections and value human connections as a big contributor to their happiness. And it
Mm-hmm.
was around 30, I think more than 30% of people said this is important for their happiness at work. And 21%, 20.5, I think, says physical and emotional well-being as a key contributors to their happiness. And that's quite interesting. I'd like to see more and just go into the more details in those research. But it's interesting as we've identified on those trends as well, that human connection, having a friend, as you say, and workplace, it's important for people, and especially when you're thinking of all the flexible working from home, and offices being empty because people working from home, it's very difficult to connect with people over Zoom or
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams, right?
Mm.
It's not the same as if being in a physical presence and going for coffee together, or maybe going for drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, right? We're
Oh,
not
sometimes
promoting
you can drink alcohol.
alcohol
Okay.
consumption.
We are not promoting
It's
it,
We're
but
all
we are
adults,
human, right? So
not promoting.
you're
Absolutely.
right.
But
You're right
that's what
now on holidays, right? So I think that
I am.
a small sip of something stronger can also make you feel
Yeah.
better.
But this is coffee and just
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah. No, yeah. We are
Pharmacy.
drinking coffee here. Yeah.
But look, the human connection, I think that's what struck me is important. People want to be in the office and want to hang out with their friends and colleagues
Mm.
in the office space. So that's really interesting to see that it's becoming a new, maybe not a new thing, but more strongly stressed by people. So I think that will be number two. And number three, it's something that I've learned a new word. Yeah, I'm learning every day something new.
Share
And
it with
the
me,
word
please.
is the word is flexidus. And this is
Flexidus.
flexidus. So it's a
Okay.
combination of the word flexible and exodus.
Okay.
And I think
What
it's
does it mean?
coined by Dr. Melissa Wheeler, as I see, senior lecturer in the Graduate School of Business and Law and RMIT.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole concept is about flexible working. So now being able to work in flexible way, so either choosing your days or hours or location, it's becoming it's been since COVID, it's a given now. But we've seen that a lot of companies now being asking their employees to come back to the office and asking them to be there twice, three times, four times a week.
And
And
employees don't want to come back,
what
right?
this was that, sorry?
Employees don't want to come back, do they?
Well, some of them want
Mm-hmm.
to come back because they need this human connection. Some of them
Okay.
value working from anywhere and anytime. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that black and white, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say. But it's interesting to see this flexidus as a
Mm-hmm.
word, is that employees now, if they face off with changing environment and changing requirements from their employees, might want to leave that employer and search or go for a job that provides more flexibility and more flexible working. So that's what they call, like last year we had the great resignation, we got silent quitting. I think the flexidus is the new thing on the horizon that
Mm-hmm.
potentially we might see exodus of people from
Living.
jobs that don't provide certain level of flexibility that they wish for.
That
So
is
that's
very
something I
important.
think will be quite. Flexibility is important,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of different things in play. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen and if it's going to be a thing
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's my I
That
think that's my highlight, and as a new word that I've learned today.
okay. I'm putting it down into my notebook. Flexidus, right? Flexidus.
Exodus. Yep.
Okay. I know from European market that there are some certain problems with refilling offices back with people because people
Hmm.
got accustomed to work remotely because they save time, for example, on going to work and coming back from work. It's easier for them to pick up kids from school or from the kindergarten, so it saves
Yep.
time. Uh, and
Oh, absolutely.
before COVID, is it as you said, before COVID was really problem, it was a really big problem to have a remote, I mean, that day off, for example, or working from home. But right now it's like, it's a given. So
It's a given.
if I had to choose the workplace for me, to work without the flexible approach and with the flexible approach, I certainly would pick up the second one.
Hmm.
So
But with
am I a flexi
Flexidus.
flexi dozer?
I'm
Flexi
not sure if
dozer.
that's a word. That's a word. But look, the flexibility, it's been flexible working's been with us for some time now.
Yeah.
And I see the say firsthand from my friends, also who are considering, for example, changing jobs, that if the employer did not allow for flexible working that would suit their daily routine, and as a school pickup, drop off,
Mm.
and other things, that they won't choose this employer even if they pay more,
Mm.
because the flexibility is so important. And as you say, saving time for commute, that's one, but saving money for commute
That's
is
second thing.
is another thing. If you're
Yeah.
thinking of simple example just from Auckland, $8 per day if by bus, right? That's like a return, like for going to the work from work. If you calculate this per
By
month,
month.
and now we'll have a ticket of fees increase as well. If you calculate that, and if how much money you can save on just commuting, and if you're thinking of cars, petrol, parking, all this stuff,
Everything.
it all adds up. And thinking, okay, I can make some savings, and what I can do with those savings is, well, I can spend money on things that I want to do and I like to do, not that I need to do.
On
I
something
think
happier
that's,
than commuting to your job.
yeah, exactly. Right. So there's, I think that the flexibility working will be there. It will be important for, and it's still important for a lot of people. Will we see the exodus of people, say, quitting their jobs because there's lack of flexibility? I think we need to wait a little bit for different reports from the market to see what are the reasons for people leaving their jobs. And those are done on a yearly basis. I think in October last year we had one report that I saw. So it will be really interesting to compare year to year. What are the differences and how these things change for the reasons of leaving the
Mm,
companies?
okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah, well, that's
it's
for me.
all it's all for January. That was summary from Wellbeing and HR points of views regarding January. I will try to make such summarizes for next month as well. And some of these topics that we mentioned today are related to the top 10 trends for 2024 regarding well-being and HR areas. So if you haven't seen the previous material that we've published with Michał together, please do it because you may find it very interesting and useful as well.
Well, let's hope.
Let's hope. That was Wellsday. It was pleasure to meet again, and yeah, see you guys on another Wellsday as usual.
Right. See you on
See you.
Wednesday.
See you. Bye bye.